is it Kyle Shanahan's responsibility to pump up his quarterback's confidence? Or is it just his responsibility to give him the best players and system available? And is it the quarterback's responsibility to take care of the rest? I don't know the answer. Or do I?
If only I knew the answer.
Maybe I do.
I personally don't think so.
Oh,
I think that it's an adult business. I think all these people are professionals and they're adults. I think at some point it's not your job to get confidence from another person. I think the confident people have to remain confident. I think Shanahan provides confidence. He gives you a very more than competent scheme that you can always have confidence that people will be schemed up open. He always provides quarterbacks with a run game and protects them using play action so you can have confidence that you'll be protected. And then for the most part with the Niners quarterbacks, outside of really CJ Beathard that first year, he was probably thrown into maybe the worst situation you could be thrown into. He's always protected the quarterbacks reasonably well in terms of their surrounding and supporting cast and the way they game plan and the coaches that are around them knowing that things are better. I don't think it's his job personally. That's just my take, to pump up a quarterback and do what Jim Harbaugh did by constantly telling him
that's why I asked.
that he's the best.
Harbaugh acted like that was his job. Right? Sorry.
Yeah, no. Fair, absolutely, he did that.
He took that seriously. He did that because he was a quarterback who I think felt had coaches who hurt his confidence. And Alex Smith had that too.
Alex Smith definitely had that, for sure. But I think the thing with Kyle is that the thing that makes him kind of interesting is that he's not overly effusive with praise, but he's not exactly overly critical in pressers either. He's just saying, it needs to get better. It was by no means perfect, but it was pretty good. Or it was by no means great, but it was pretty good.
We just don't know what he's like in the meetings.
That's what we don't know. But I think the interesting thing I've always read about Kyle Shanahan is that's his standard answer for like 98% of players. But there are times where he can be overly defensive and come out and just gush emotion and happiness about a player. I mean, we see it when he talks about Kirk Cousins every time, but even 49ers players, Mike McGlinchey last year, he came out and was like, if we would do it again, we would do it again. CJ Beathard has gotten something like that, but I mean, not every player has gotten it. Certainly there's a lot of really good players. Yeah, but even in Trent Williams, it's a different case because Trent Williams, it's not a case of his play. He's just a one-of-one Hall of Fame level player. But it's pretty interesting to me that that's just the way he is. And personally, I don't think it's his job. Like, I personally don't think it's the job of my boss. I mean, I guess you can call Kyle's not really, in this case, Kyle is the boss, but I don't think every head coach in a sense is the player's boss. They're but as much maybe a higher level colleague or something. That's maybe the way you can describe it. In Kyle's case, he has control of the 53, so he's the boss of all these players. I personally, when I do enter the workforce, hopefully next year and everything goes right, I personally don't need my boss to be telling me like, Vish, you're a great worker. Vish, you're the best computer scientist. Vish, you're my favorite software engineer. I don't personally think that that's a requirement. Maybe it's a requirement in football, but I don't think that's his job. They're professionals. They all should have confidence in their craft. That's why they made it so far.
Look, here's what I want to say here. I guess I'm going to look at it a different way. I've always looked at John Gruden as being a grinder on his quarterbacks. And I think Kyle is too. I think he's a lot like Gruden, a lot like his dad, old school, kind of a hard ass. And, there's been a lot of successful coaches like that. I mean, there just have been. But you could say it's not necessarily his job to pump up a quarterback's confidence. Although, if a coach can do that, that's a nice asset. You could put that on your resume. And it's definitely not your job to hurt a quarterback's confidence. Let's say that. It's definitely not your job to do that. And I'm not saying he is doing that because I'm not in the quarterback meetings. But I'm just trying to look at some patterns. Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence seemed to get worse over time on this team. Brian Hoyer's
you can point to a specific example. Jimmy Garoppolo has not played free and easy as a 49ers quarterback
since 2017.
Since week 1 of 2018.
Yeah,
he played week 1 of 2018 free and easy. He threw 3 picks. And then week 2 versus Detroit, game they won, it is actually one of Jimmy Garoppolo's worst starts as a 49ers quarterback.
Dude, he just stands there. Yeah. He's like, I'm not throwing a pick. I'm taking the sack. It's like, whoa, what are you doing? Yep, I agree.
He was frantic.
So, look, we saw it happen with Jimmy. We saw it happen with Hoyer. We saw it happen with CJ. We saw it happen with Mullins. No quarterback has gotten more confident over time on this team. And I'm not saying we've seen it with Trey. it's too early to call. But the one thing that's interesting to me is Rosen. Okay, he comes here, just a total failure. And the one time he talks, he definitely sounded depressed. Gets cut, goes to Atlanta, and I'm not saying it's going to work out for him in Atlanta. It hasn't been that much time, but he's there with what's his name, Arthur Smith. Okay, that guy resurrected Ryan Tannehill's career. He's done this before, and Rosen goes out and has a good first outing with the Falcons. And when he talks, he's smiling and he says he's in a much better place mentally. And he says it was really nice to go out there and not know the offense and kind of just play like Pop Warner, as opposed to what you have to do here, which is you have to execute it to Kyle Shanahan's liking. And he has a very high standard. And it was just interesting to hear him talk that way. So something for Kyle to think about, at least. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting.
Did you hear that?
I did. I actually heard the.
It was very interesting.
I thought it was interesting. I read it more so as it was just nice for him to finally play. He wasn't thinking about this, that, and ensuring that he was doing things right. I didn't think that was.
But don't you feel like you see these quarterbacks thinking like? Don't you feel like what Jimmy ever since that week against the Vikings that what Jimmy's been doing is kind of overthinking it? What does Kyle want me to do? Oh my God,
maybe a little bit.
He wanted me to go to this guy. He's not open. What do I do?
You and I have pointed out in the past that, Kyle Shanahan hasn't had that long-term relationship with the quarterback where it's been him and a quarterback for a very extended period
of time. His dad had
it. He's always maximized every quarterback. His dad had it with Elway.
Hell yeah, he had it with Elway.
He's always maximized the quarterbacks he's had, and he's a phenomenal play caller and game planner.
Yeah.
But he's kind of just moved from quarterback to quarterback. It's just been a couple years with this guy, a couple years with that guy, a couple years. I think Jimmy might be his longest tenured quarterback since Matt Schaub.
That's what I'm saying.
He's had him now for 5 years, but he hasn't started all that much in that 5 years. But he's had him for 5 years. I still disagree with it, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility of like this could be something.
Yeah, it's the only thing that really concerns me about the development of Trey Lance. He's got the team, he's got the weapons, he's got the system. That's a great start. Does he have the mentor? Does he have the guy who's going to bring out the best in him or not? I don't know. I don't. You can't say one way or another because this is Kyle's first real test. I mean, he had RG3. RG3 got hurt. That was an incomplete. He didn't develop Kirk Cousins. That was really McVay. So this is his first go of it, and we'll see. It's very early. So
it'll be interesting to see. But the other thing to Trey Lance's credit is he seems to have the makeup to be able to not get rattled. Although to me, he has looked a little bit underconfident in these preseason games relative to the way Mac Jones and Zach Wilson and Justin Fields have been looking, just in terms of confidence, nothing else.
There are certain young men who respond well to a hard-ass coach. Sorry to use that phrase, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure Mac Jones could take it because he played for Saban. And I'm sure Jimmy can take it to a certain extent, although his confidence has gone because he played for Belichick.
Josh McDaniels is notoriously difficult too.
And Lance was, a godsend for North Dakota State. They were happy to have him. Like, he should have been at Ohio State. So I don't know if he's ever been in a room where someone's talking to him like this. He's always been the savior of a small place. And now it's like, dude, you're not doing it right. And he's like, I can only imagine, wow, this is new. This is a new experience.
So. I'm just excited to see how all of this is played out. I mean, we've talked about so many different things on this show, whether it's, the 2-quarterback system, Kyle Shanahan, all these things. This season is going to be awesome to see how all of this ends up playing out because I'm skeptical about certain things, but I still believe in Kyle Shanahan. So,
Kyle, thank you for giving us all the content, not just some of the content, all the content.
He told you that. He said he was going to do that for you.
Yeah, because I keep asking this question, and he keeps giving me this attitude when he answers. Like, I know the media wants us to say. I know you. I was like, dude, no. You got me all wrong, man. Please drag this out. So I think he gets that. So
he gives you this smirk, too, every time. Like, this is our little joke. You're going to keep asking it. I'm going to give you the same answer. You're going to post about it. Everybody's business does well.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the players and coaches kind of like having a banter with me. It's fun, like it's a little unpredictable. I might be critical, I might be humorous, but I think they enjoy it most. I think that's what I'm seeing. So not to toot my own horn. It just doesn't seem like they hate me as much as fans might think they do. I don't Not to bring up race. Oh, that's a great way to start a sentence. But why does it seem like only the all-star white players are taken up for Jimmy? Really haven't heard black players do the same.
Oh, I can give you this reason. It's not really a race thing. It just so happens that all the 49ers prominent offensive players are white.
That's true.
That's all it is.
That's true.
The prominent black defensive player on this team is Fred Warner, and he's not really answering quarterback questions every time. The guys
That's
that answer
true.
the quarterback questions are the Kittles, Juszczyk, McGlinchey, and then to an extent the Raheem Mosterts, and Trent Williams is the other guy, but Trent Williams mostly just talks about Trent Williams in his pressers. So
That is true. Raheem Mostert talked
yeah,
yesterday, and he played it right down the middle. Like
yeah,
Jimmy's good, Trey's good. I mean, I couldn't tell a preference for him. Ayuk and Debo haven't really talked much.
they don't talk that
They
much.
don't talk that
They
much.
get the one standard presser, and
That's
they're
true.
both not really talkative. Debo just goes yes sir, and Ayuk just talks about just generally a little more.
Debo's
The
a dark
talk,
horse to me. He's clearly very smart, and he gives short answers with a twinkle in his eye, like I'm messing with you. I would like to get to know him a little bit better.
yeah,
He's interesting. I like Ayuk looks a little introverted, which is cool. That's fine. That's fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
It just
that's
so
totally
happens
fine.
that the talkative
Debo is not.
offensive players, the
No.
talkative offensive players that
Yeah.
are put in front of the media and constantly ask these quarterback questions are George Kittle, Mike McGlinchey, and Kyle Juszczyk.
Use check. Yeah. Daniel Sotelo says, "Hey guys, should we maybe put blame on Lynch and Peters for not allowing Kyle to get his starting quarterback, even if it was Mac?" There's a lot of there's a lot of things we have to assume here, but all I'm saying is, Kyle, if you wanted Mac, the mistake you made was thinking you had to trade up for him. You could have had Mac at 12. I think if you had just stayed there and taken your quarterback, Niner fans would have been like, okay, that's fine, that's all right, that's okay. But trading up to 3 for Mac, everyone knew it was a mistake. He wasn't going to go that high. It would have. I mean, maybe he would end up being worth the number 3 pick. But at the time, everyone knew he wasn't going to go that high.
Oh,
Everyone.
Trey Lance is saying Mac is not Kyle's QB. I'm
What?
Kyle's QB. Tell him, Trey Lance.
Tell him, Trey.
Look, he's right there.
Coach says Kyle's best attribute, according to the players, is his honesty and transparency. Fairy tales and narratives is your job, Grant. Ooh, that was a shot. Fairy tales and narratives. See, he said honesty and
Well,
transparency in all caps.
So I agree with you on honesty and transparency. Grant is asking the question whether the honesty and transparency is always a good thing with your quarterback.
Right.
That's the question he's asking.
Agree. So like what he does is like, hey, he gets a question, what do you think of Trey Lance today? And he'll be like, honestly, I thought he reverted to some of the stuff that we've been talking about not doing anymore. Okay, you're right, Kyle. Was that the right thing to say though? He reverted. That's like if someone's like, "Hey, what do you think of Vish's performance on your show today?" Honestly, I think he kind of reverted. It wasn't his best show. He did this, this, this. It's like, okay, I can go to
take it,
sleep.
Grant.
I can go to
Honest,
sleep knowing that
honest
I was
opinion.
right or whatever. But like I told it how it was. But I hurt Vish's confidence. I hurt my show. I hurt my own brand. Of course, you're the greatest, and I would never say that. But it's like the
I
same kind of
appreciate it.
thing. It's like you don't need to be honest in that. I'm wrong. I mean, coach, maybe you have a different way of coaching your. I just feel like public, like that. Like I'm sure the vibe I got from Harbaugh was, I'll say what I need to say to these. I'll be honest to their faces in private, but in press conferences, all I'm going to say is he's our quarterback. I like him. End of story. End of story. And I think I understood why he did that. Coach,
Trey Lance is going off right now.
is he? Oh my bad. I'm going to catch up. Trent says, "LOL. When are we going to see the plays Kyle was drawing up on the plane after the pro day? Week 1." We saw the one. I mean, the touchdown would have been one of them. Jeremy Price. You don't have to be a great leader to be a head coach, but you can get more out of your team when you have better leadership qualities.
Yeah, I think that's for I think that you do have to be a great leader to be a head coach, but I don't think every great leader looks the same, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
not every great leader is going to be the type of orator speaker that Mike Tomlin is. I mean, Mike Tomlin just blows your socks off every
Yeah.
time. You're like, wow, Mike Tomlin could lead any type of company and you would be successful just because he's such a great speaker and he just
Yeah.
is so well spoken and all of that. And then you have Belichick, who to coach the way he's coached for that long and have the success he has, you have to be a great leader. I don't think he looks or strikes you as what a conventional quote unquote great leader looks like. I mean, Mike Tomlin would kick his butt in a debate every time with the hood of, yeah, Mac Jones played well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's not impressive. Mike
No,
Tomlin
it's
would
not.
kick his butt. Yeah.
And I actually feel that most of the leadership in that New England franchise for a long time was coming from Brady. And Belichick is one of these coordinators who had a lot of success because he had Brady. Brady is, God, he's so impressive. He is a head coach. He is the closest thing I've ever seen in football to a player coach. Manning was like a coordinator
Peyton.
coach.
It's Peyton.
Manning was a coordinator coach. It was great, and it was so much fun to watch him call plays. But Brady, I think, has the full picture in a way that I've never seen
Yeah.
anybody do it. Anyway,
I know, because
yeah,
Grant,
it's
the
great.
way he motivates that defense to stop Aaron Rodgers after three
Dude, he
straight
gets
fourth
in the
quarter
huddle. He's like, "Look,
interceptions.
guys, here's
Are
what you're
you
gonna
kidding
do.
me?
You're gonna tackle, and you're gonna rush the quarterback, and you're gonna get an interception break." It's amazing. It's a lot like Chris Paul leadership.
Yeah,
It's just transcendent.
It is. It's the same
It's
thing.
transcendent.
Or
Yeah,
Steph Curry's
absolutely.
gravity.
Rashad says, "Don't you dare talk about Steph Curry's gravity in the Bay Area. You will get bounced." Rashad says Jimmy needs his confidence inflated. He's at best when he plays with confidence. I will always feel that way. Agree. Keeping Trey as humble as possible is the best approach for him. Maybe if Jim Harbaugh took
Maybe
over this team next year, like let's say that Kyle goes 3-14 and they fire him, and Jim Harbaugh's like, "Yo, let me come save you," and they have this like dramatic reconciliation, him and Jed. First thing he would do would be pump up Jimmy's confidence. First thing he would do, or one of them, pick one, and just say this is the best quarterback in the league. That's the first thing he would do. I know he would. I've seen him do it. I was there.
Fable Jimmy just said one of the funniest things. He said, "Fish, you said it's not Kyle's job to pump up his guys, but now you're giving Brady props for something you just said isn't important."
Sarcasm.
I was joking.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
Jan Evander Balin says, "Can you imagine a split two-back set with Jimmy behind center with Lance next to Mostert?" Oh, I'm trying to see the two quarterbacks on the field at the same time. Figured out, Kyle. Figured out.
Yeah, you know what though? I think Jimmy, to his credit, would have greater body language than Joe Flacco ever did. I brought up the Ravens comparison earlier in the show.
Right, because what they would do with the wild card, they would have Lance at quarterback with hands on the hips, looking away from the play, like looking at the sideline, like this is what you want me to
Jay
do.
Cutler was the same way. Jay Cutler was also a problem with it. He did not like it.
So funny. Well, then just retire because you're a dinosaur. I saw Juice on the side chopping it up with Trey. Good to know. We have to get to the bottom. We have to get all this stuff. We got to know. Seth says,
Grant, you have the best fan base because they get you riled up on things like this that you don't need to get riled up.
That's true. You guys are instigators. I'm looking for stuff like that. It's your fault. Seth says, please ask tough questions in the next presser. It's today. Here's the thing. I was talking to Vish earlier. I do have a tough question for Kyle, but I can't ask it yet. I have to see him commit to this two quarterback system in a regular season game because if I ask the question, he can always say, well, you don't know what I'm planning to do. But my question is, 95% of the questions he's fielding about this quarterback controversy revolve around who should start week one. Ultimately, that's not the issue. The issue is Trey Lance's long-term development. Why is this quarterback committee the best way to develop Trey Lance? He can just say, well, you don't know how I'm going to do it week one. And I'd have to say, you're right. So let me see what he does first, and that's my question.
Because the interesting thing about it is that it could be that they just are doing the quarterback by committee right now because they think that's the best way for them to win in week one and week two.
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody brings up the end game of, well, they drafted Trey Lance for 2023, Grant, not for 2021 or 2022.
True. 2024, actually. Jeremy Price says Chip Kelly is not a great leader. Tom Sula not a great leader. I'm sorry, Vish. You're still a G, though.
They were bad.
Vish a great leader. He's got that leadership.
Hey, Tom Sula was a great leader.
He's a good leader of defensive linemen.
No, you always say the funny story with your dad. Is it you and your dad that said the story of him congratulating them after like a 30-point loss? Pittsburgh,
yeah. He walked around and shook every player's hand and thanked them for their work. And Joe Staley looked around like, yo, this is wild. Like, he was almost like, who is this guy, man? Is this our coach? I've never met this guy before. It's not our coach. Can't be our coach. Please tell me it's not our head coach. Jim Tom Sula, wherever you are, God love you. He's probably got $20 million somewhere because Jed York made a terrible decision. But life is funny that way. Vish, this was an hour-and-a-half show. Thank you so much. I know it's your off day. Go do something irresponsible. Just kidding.
It's a makeup for last week. We got the Wi-Fi fixed yesterday,
That's
After
all right.
1 week without Wi-Fi. By the way, Blake and Rich Sports took a 6-day hiatus because of this Wi-Fi. We will be back streaming tonight. We will talk about this quarterback system, but we will also be talking about Justin Fields, Bruce Mack, a lot of other things. Shameless plug. Sorry, Grant had to do it, but we also need to get you on very soon again. So
Of
we got to
course.
do that before the season.
I believe you have the second largest YouTube channel of current Bay Area analysts after me, which is cool. I think that's really cool. Anyway, just shout out Vish. You should definitely subscribe. It's a hell of a YouTube channel.
Thank you so much. I
And you don't even
appreciate
only
that.
do Bay Area stuff. It's really an eclectic group of topics for a very educated fan base. So if that appeals to you, and it should, if you're here,
Yeah,
subscribe.
we do end up talking Niners every show. Like my co-host Blake, who's a Packers fan, is now well in Niners Twitter, and he has a good understanding of the dynamics between the receiver competition between Juwan Jennings, Jalen Hurd, Travis Benjamin, and River Craycraft. He's really into that. I mean, I'm playing, but he's gotten that deep into the Niners
That's
because of
right.
this. But yeah,
That's right.